It's Tanika. Thanks for coming back. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy. Yo, it's Tanika, and thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me once again on this yet another conscious rant. I make myself laugh every time I say it. It's like, here's Johnny. So I'm going to talk about this dream that I had and all the stuff that spun off from it, right? Let me turn the car. It's too hot to have the car off, okay? I guess I could take it inside. I'll probably end up taking it inside. But while I'm out here, one of the places that I used to work at, anyway, one of the places that I used to work at, you like my new hair? I just put it in this morning. Well, it wasn't this morning. It was, wow, it was this morning. Y'all, I really haven't been asleep. That's why I'm dull. I have it's like a dull headache. I'm just catching up. Really have. And then I was outside and I got some chicken bites, so I took some Benadryl. Because the grass is pretty tall. I'm not going to turn the phone around and just show you guys the grass because it is tall right now. So it looks like there's only one other neighbor that has grass like this grass. So, but I was in the grass and I needed some Benadryl. So I took some Benadryl at it had to be I want to say 6 or 7 o'clock this morning. I caught the sunrise. It has been so long. That was at 6:15 this morning. That felt really, really good. It felt really, when you put yourself first, just to enjoy something like that. And some people don't care. But what if you didn't have eyes? I know some people are like, she's always so extreme. Like, what? But bitch, we got eyes. Yeah, there are a lot of people that don't. There are a lot of people that lose their sight. You don't know what you are missing if you've never had it. This is one of those things. All the colors that we can see. I think about that. And that's one of the reasons why the grass is so tall. I mean, because there definitely is a lawnmower and the grass can be cut. But the fireflies, and I'm not saying the fireflies they're drawn to the fireflies are necessarily drawn to the tall grass. I'm not saying that, okay? I am saying that I like fireflies, and they were still out early, right before that the sun popped out. So anyway, but I took that Benadryl. That was at 6 something. Is before 7 o'clock in the morning. But I've been up since 8 or 9. So I'm just that is why I'm so... Anyway, so in this dream, she'll keep me down. Because I had a Coke freeze cue from On Cue. I told you guys, I'm hypersensitive to caffeine. I cannot do it. I can do it, but you see what just happened? I've been wired for more than 24, 48 hours on a Coke freeze cue. And I didn't even drink the whole freaking thing. Anyway, so I was like, let me go ahead and just stay up and do my hair and clean up some stuff. And you guys, I haven't washed, really washed. I mean, I washed the exterior of my car, but the inside, we got wiped down real good. I feel good about it. Now I just got to get the seats because it looks like I've had a whole daycare in the car. In the dream, there was a lady who, when I saw her, I recognized her because I saw her after I left this really big agency that I used to work for. I kept seeing this broad, and people would say, people are really quick, or they can be really quick. Obviously not a friend or anyone that gives a shit about you. Because those people that know you would not dismiss something that you say, especially if you don't typically cry wolf. if you're not a wolf crier. But anyway, they will say that, you know, maybe it's just in your head. And I'm like, no, I'm not mistaken. If every time I catch a person doing this, it's like you're holding the phone in a very unnatural way. Can you tell me where the restroom is? How natural is that? Like, do you want me to, are you taking a picture of me? And so like when I'm answering, I'm like, sure. Hold on just 1 second. Hold on, sure. The restroom is like right around that corner, or like, and this is like in on cue, you know? So I'm like, the restroom is where it always is. Like it's over there. Like, and then even when they turn around, okay. No, you cannot make it. So this broad, she looks like if Peppermint Patty grew up into a woman. That's who she looks like. Anyway, so the adult version of what the hell did I do? What did I do? Oh. Anyway, and so the lady was in my dream, and I think she stands out the most because I've seen people do that all the time. You're just like, you're moving very oddly, like the how, because it's so obvious. And I know that people walk around, you can hold your phone any way you want to, but if you consider the body language, like, and again, it's not like I've gone to school for it or taken any courses. I'm not like, when I am texting someone, you know, the phone is down at an angle that rests the eyes a little bit. You know, you're looking down, you have control, versus you having it up like this as if you're taking a picture of yourself. Like, who texts like that? You know what I mean? And so, anyway, the last time I saw that lady in person in real life, she had that phone out. And it was kind of smirkish, like, yeah, you know what time it is. And it was she came in so often, like often enough that my Boston management team knew. They knew. And I was like, I don't know what her fascination is with me. I don't know if it's because I'm like, I was not the first black I'd work in there. I wasn't the first one. I wasn't the first, you know, black employee that they had working there. So I'm not really sure why she was so fascinated with me, right? Anyway, but it bothered me so much. And he was like, well, people can take pictures if they want to. I was like, but at what point does it become harassing? So, I mean, either you can talk to her or I will talk to her, or will me talking to her cause me to lose my job? Will I lose my job? He was like, no, you're not gonna be terminated for that. He was like, it's a valid concern, especially if she comes in all the time and she's not taking pictures of the business, she's taking pictures of the employees. Yeah, no, that actually it's borderline harassment. So, but he spoke to her and there was a whole conversation, and she kind of blew up like, you don't have the right to tell me, and wouldn't even confirm that she was or wasn't recording me. Because the cameras caught her coming into the building. Like, she definitely set the phone right before she walked through the doors. And I'm just like, people are just dumb. You're just dumb. I'm not big on name calling, you know what I mean? I'm very much a sticks and stones type of person. So because of that, you know, I don't use my words to call people, you know, bitches or whores. You know, not necessarily. But anyway, so in the dream, this bride comes in and has on like one of the outfits that I'm telling you, she is Peppermint Patty's aunt. Or maybe she's a time traveler and she planted the idea in the animators, the cartoonist's brain, like, make a character that looks just like me with this weird girly comb over. No, not long hair. Just like an ugly bob, which there's no such thing as an ugly bob, because bobs look good on everybody. They look good on everybody. Oh, I'm bobbing my head because I'm seeing it. Bobbing my head because I'm seeing it. anyway, and so, so in the dream, it came completely out of nowhere. I took it as like a spiritual attack because it jolted me out of my dream. It's how I came to understand that I was in a dream, because at that point I didn't know that I was even dreaming. It was a good dream. Very lucid. It was a very lucid dream. Anyway, so she comes up, and as soon as we make eye contact, I was just like, but I'm not at work. And so she's approaching, and I could literally see the phone. It was on through her shirt, and it was just like that, like you could see it. And I was just like, I just went for her. Okay, I went for her, and I completely lost my shit and acted completely out of character. And I'm like, whenever I've been in my meditation lately, I've been hearing the message like it's loud and clear. You know, watch your temper. I am not easily provoked or moved like I will to protect someone, you know, someone that isn't protecting themselves. Like this one, my very first best friend. Like, I've had 3 best friends in my whole life. Because to me, like, if you're the best friend, like, it's only one, because the best is one. It's the most. And I guess you can say I like these 3 flavors the most, or like these 3 shapes the most. Like, anyway, okay. But this is the very first one. I think I was in like the 3rd grade. I had just gotten in the 4th grade, and I had been seeing her, right? Just absolutely beautiful. She was very meek. When I was trying to describe to my parents, because I liked her, I was like, I think I made a friend, Mommy, I think I made a friend. And I was telling my dad about her. And like, she's just really quiet, and even when she talks like really soft. And I was like, she's so nice. And like, and we sat together and we ate a sandwich together. You know, I'm just a kiddie. You know, I'm talking about someone that I want to be my friend. We just started riding our bus, so she lives over here in the same place, that, you know, in the same area as we. And it's like, yeah, maybe you can, you know, you can hang out, you know, you guys can, you know, she can come over, you can go outside and play. And I really hadn't, anyway. So long story short, one of the binding factors of our friendship in the very beginning, other than the initial introduction, you know, I'm Tneca, blah blah blah, and she told me her name, Ian. She told me she name is Rowdy. And she told me her name, and it's like, when we got off of the bus, I thought we were gonna walk like to my house to put the books down, and then we would walk back to her house, her apartment, our apartments, because we were in an apartment complex, a ginormous apartment complex, right off the lake. And just to kind of cut time so we could have more time to have fun instead of going to each other's house, I agreed that she would go to hers and I would go to mine, and then we would meet back at that same spot. So I went, dropped my stuff off. You know, back then people really had to you had to change clothes when you got home. You get in the house, you would change your clothes and take your school clothes off and put your play clothes on, right? So I had done that, and then I mean, it didn't take but a second. Came back out, and she was literally standing under a tree. She was being bullied. The kids were throwing things at her and, you know, calling her some really mean names. She was the N-word. Those same kids never called me the N-word, but she was the N-word. And she was the N-word, and she was the fat word. They called her ugly. I thought she was beautiful. You know, it's not I thought she was beautiful. These kids were just picking on her. It was like 2 white kids and a black kid. 3 white kids and a black kid. And she wasn't, I mean, I was just like, she's finna kick their asses. Because she was significantly bigger than all of us. And so I was like, she is fixing to kick their ass. Get them, right? And she started crying. And as soon as I saw her tear up, I was like, shit. So I ran over there. Get your hands off of her. Get your hands on. Stand up for yourself. All these motherfuckers not to hit you. Don't fucking hit me. Hit me. In fact, come on with it. And I just started, man, I was whooping they. It was papers and still had their backpacks on. So they let me know as soon as I walked away to go and put my things up, they had come over and approached her. And I was just like, I felt so bad because it's just like, I look out for my sisters like that. I used to, and I still do. I'm extremely watchful over them. Like if I'm a friend to you, I got your motherfucker. I got your back. If I'm a friend to you. It's funny, my first thought just now is like, this is a conscious rant. That's first, okay? But my first thought just now is like the friend, like who and what I am right now. Like in my current state, there are some people who are friends to me, that we are friends. We have a friendship, a relationship, and I know that they miss me, and I know that one person expressed like that she needs me. She needs a friend, and I'm just like, I'm not in a place that I can be active like you need me to be in this friendship. I cannot come out and play right now. I've been on a reserve tank for a long time. And my situation is just now looking up, and so when it's time for me to fully come out, then I come out again. But between anxiety and depression, between finances, financial hardships, if I have to even think about how will this affect my gas, my fuel budget, how will this affect my fuel budget, then off the top, I'm gonna have to see you another time. This is not the time for that, because I have to get to and from work. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm definitely about my shit right now. Well, I always am. Like, definitely prioritizing. Look at you. Anyway, she's such a beautiful person. And one of the last things, she's such a beautiful person. I do miss her. Our children got to know each other, and it's like as soon as I saw her son, like it had been some years since I seen her. I went overseas and came back and been back for years back in the States. And I had just moved back to, I'm gonna take that out. I had just moved back home and enrolled my children in school, and they've been in school for a little while. Like it had been less than a year, but they were back in school. And baby, it's like, our children, your children will get to know my children. Our children will get to know each other inevitably. And there are some people, I can look at you and tell who your mama is. I can look at you and tell who your father is. I know exactly who you are. And as soon as I saw her son, I was like, what is your name? And I said it before he could say it. And his eyes, he was like, how did you know that? I was like, I knew your father, right? And his father was a beautiful brother. His father was Music Soul Child before Music Soul Child was Music Soul Child. You know what I mean? Not that anybody can be Music Soul Child. All right. But his father was just a wonderful, talented, and artist. He was, I don't know if he still sings or not. I don't know. Or writes. He used to sing and write. Like, he had a lot. Anyway, I was just saying that I stand up for the people that I love. And I loved her. And I stood up for her. Even until the very end, like, our friendship. Anyway, any fucking way. Okay, we are off of that. Going back to the dream. So in the dream, I hated that I lost my temper, because when I say that rarely happens, not since, well, it happened one time, like in 2016 or 17. So this guy asked me to quit my job. But, like, if you believe in God and you believe in me, you wouldn't even have this job, because you got this job. It's just a net so that because you think our relationship is coming to a close, and so because of that, that's the reason that you got this job. And so if you really believed in God and you believed in me, then you wouldn't have this job. And I was like, I bet you I can do this shit. I do believe in you, and I do believe in God. Let me show you I love you. Let me show you that I got your back. I'll quit this motherfucker, because I know that if you drop me on my ass, You want me to trust in you like that and give away my stability and security for me and my children? But I know that God's going to pick me up just like that. I know that God has made something inside of me that is so powerful that I will not fall. I will not fall. I may stumble. And even if I fall, I know the Spirit and the Lord that is backing me. I know my ancestors are backing me. Wait, why did I say that? Anyway. I feel terrible that I went after the lady in my dream, but I will say, I mean, because it wasn't just a little bit. It was fury. It was fury because I know what she's tied to. She's tied to a big agency that I blew the motherfucking whistle on. I blew the whistle on them hoes. Because like when you think about, when I stop and think about like how are people able to get off grandmaster schemes and plans, like scandalous shit. How are you able to get that off? How are the wicked allowed to or able to penetrate and to step on or pinch? I actually say pinch, okay? It's pinch, it's not pinch. It's pinch, okay? Anyway, how are you able to pinch? That sounds silly, but it's my word. Are the wicked able to pinch the righteous? On what basis? Every time a narcissist boss or a narcissist spouse or a narcissist friend or family member, every time one of them gets that shit off, that manipulation and deception, every time they get off, it fortifies that it's okay. Because who's going to stop me? Your mama, your daddy didn't stop me. The principal didn't stop me. The teacher didn't stop me. The supervisor or manager, the director didn't stop me. The police didn't stop me. Or if the police, like this one crooked ass police that polices the school that goes to, his brothers and sisters in arms didn't stop him. Because I don't think that all of them are bad. I actually don't. I hate that stereotype is there for our servicemen, for our police officers. I hate that it's there because I used to want to be a police officer. I wanted to be a lot of things. It was all in the name of protecting the innocent, protecting the weak, because I needed protection. And sometimes didn't have it. My mother needed it, and sometimes didn't have it. And my father needed it. My grandfather needed it. So I'm passionate about that. That's why I could never victimize somebody. Okay, because this is a conscious rant, we're going to go to a whole nother topic. So I was reflecting back on like what we were just talking about. It just took me back to the relationship. I referenced it a few times since I started this channel. It's a gentleman when I was in my 20s that after I moved from Texas back to my home state, I'd been here for maybe 2 months. And the gentleman that I had been seeing before I moved back home, he started visiting. So every other weekend I would be there, he would be here. I would be there, he would be here. And then finally he made the decision to just come here, right? Well, when I knew him in Texas, he was on his shit. That's the same one I was telling you about that had the girlfriend, and he was giving me the blues, keeping me up until like I gotta be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we up until 3 and 4 o'clock arguing over hypothetical shit. Anyway, it was shit like that was just really turning me off about him. But and this is even though I understood, and I had known him at that point for like about a year and a half. So I was reflecting on that here recently since I mentioned him in the video. Then he's popped up in my whole, like, because I'm just processing everything that happened, and I'm I am more aware and more conscious of myself. I am not an aggressive person, but I carry myself in such a way like I mean to not be weight on anybody. I don't want to be a burden, and that stems from a childhood trauma of being made to feel like there was something wrong with me because we needed anything. Check out my Bitmoji story while I tell you, just to give you a little more introspection about my situation. So the reason that I went back into whenever we were living with people, whenever we were just in my childhood, just an experience, I said that to say that I am hypersensitive to my guest. If I am hosting someone, and in this case, this man didn't have anything. He had no job. Well, when he came to this state, he didn't. And so I was very sensitive to his needs and what he needed, and never wanting him to ever feel unwelcome or to feel ignored, because I come from a history like in my childhood, there are people who, they were very much the quote unquote evil being fair seeming. They acted like they had good intentions, but they would do little salty shit all the time. So I'm hypersensitive to that. And it applies to everything. It's not just a living situation. It applies to work. It applies to school. It applies to relationships. You don't invite someone in to your space and then treat them like shit. So, okay. When we didn't have anywhere to live, and family members would encourage my mother, like toxically, as to leave my father, to leave him, just because they would have an argument. I'm like, he didn't hit her. They just had an explosive argument. Like you're gonna break up a whole family? You want to break up the whole family because they had an argument? But anyway, so, but the times that we would end up at our family members' homes, it was just a matter of time before the envy and jealousy would set in. For my mother and her beautiful 3 daughters to be there quiet as a mouse, not making any noise, not fighting anybody, not doing shit, helping clean. And the children of the house and the women of the house, one in-law, woman that married into the family, and then my mother's own biological sisters, them or their children, or them and their children, would eventually, I'm saying eventually, like it took 4 months or 4 years. No, I'm talking like in a matter of like maybe a month after. We wouldn't even be there for a month or two, not even that long, before the children would get so jealous because their parents are complimenting us out the wazoo. You guys are so good. Like you're easy on us. We can't even talk about food that you might be eating, because my mother she did not give us big portions back then. So it's like my mother, when she steps up on the scene, baby, you say you sick, she's gonna show up. She's gonna show up. I still feel it. She's gonna show up and clean your whole house and cook for you. She's gonna cook your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just like she did whenever we were in our own place. She's gonna cook everything for you. Make sure your laundry is done. You, your husband, and your children. Everybody's shit is gonna be right. Your shoes are gonna be lined up by the front door. Like she commanded order. Order. Cleanliness. She was neat. And me and my sisters, we looked like we had been to a charm school for how we carried ourselves. And it was easy because she raised us like that. So it's not like she had to constantly keep checking with us and telling us, okay, sit your ass up, sit up with your back straight. Okay, they're talking so you don't talk. Don't be walking around burping in people's faces and passing gas. We had family members that would come and just jump on us and pass gas. And I was like, why do you have to be so nice? This is my house. And my daddy said I can do whatever I want to do in my house. If you don't like it, you can get your own house. Just waiting to fire that off. Now that I'm older, I'm looking back like you were just a spoiled piece of shit. That's all that was. And your father raised a monster.
Your father raised a monster.
That's all that was. But anyway, and so this young man, we're both in our 20s, and I come here and he's here. And he's here with me and my sisters, and not sisters, me and my children. He's here with us. And I let him know, he already knew I'm at the end of my divorce. Not the end, because because I left, like I was in Colorado whenever I filed for the divorce initially, but I'm young. I didn't know that I needed to stay there. Like I did all the stuff I had to do, the counseling, the marital counseling, the parent classes, everything I had to do. I did not read up enough because I did it myself. I did have an attorney to draw the papers, but I did it myself, and I tried to serve him myself. He didn't allow it, so a lady who had her own court server, however you say it, she did it for me, and I paid her and she did it. But anyway, why was I telling you about that? Here I'm gonna come right back. I went back on the divorce just for context, because I did not cheat on my ex-husband. I am not a cheater. I am not. I left. And before I left, I gave those divorce papers. I didn't leave and then take everything. I left very honorably. I honored him, and I still honor him. I do not talk shit about him behind his back to his face. I'm not judgmental. Like my mother taught us unconditional love. She taught us how to love unconditionally. That means it doesn't matter that I might be mad about this, and this, and I cannot stand this about you. But I'm emotionally intelligent enough and considerate enough. Like I consider the truth is that just this part right here doesn't color all of who you are, as a husband, or if we're talking about someone as a parent, or if we're talking about someone in their profession. This one thing doesn't reflect, it's not a reflection of who you are overall. I mean, there may be some bits of your reflection in all of it. Like, well, if you're an asshole here, you're an asshole there. It makes sense. Of course you're an asshole here. Not necessarily. Anyway, I said that to say that was one of the things that I would mention to him when I was leveling with him, as I was like, you are expressing extreme insecurity. If we really just got down to it, the fact is I am still legally married. I am legally married. And the only reason that the divorce is not finalized is because I didn't know that I needed to stay in the store. I needed to maintain residency for a specific period of time. I think it's 6 to 12 months. I think I had to maintain residency for the divorce to have been final, and I left too soon. That's all. Whether he signed or not. But I also wasn't trying to rush the process or anything for a guy that I had just known for like a year. You know what I mean? I was just like, but I say that to say that I understood, just like whenever me and my mother and my sisters were displaced whenever we were younger, this guy, I'm hosting him in my state. I'm only in my 20s, and I actually hadn't seen another example of women in my family. I didn't see them dating guys in the other states and the guys visiting. I had not seen that, so I didn't know what the etiquette was or how to be. So I was like, I can give you the hospitality that my mother, she was the example. I will serve you. I will take care of you. And I just didn't want him to feel, like we had to feel. And I was so focused on that it was like, you better be glad that you're getting that, because I'm still the only one working here. I'm the only one taking care of me and my 3 kids. And I'm not even complaining. Just don't get in my way. Just don't get in the way. Don't have me up until 4 o'clock in the morning arguing. I got to be working 6. Or don't do things to unnecessarily plant seeds of doubt with me, like coming home at 2 o'clock in the morning, like, where? On what planet? And I'm not even like, we're really boyfriend and girlfriend. I will leave you. I will leave your ass. Like, no arguing. So, but anyway, but we argued a lot, and I absolutely hated it. But anyway, I was considering that the way that I thought that I was showing up with someone, had to buy, your wife panties, or if she had any allergies, or if he liked, a specific brand of socks, you knew their preferences, if they preferred to have a bank or a credit union, or if it was vital to them that they had both. You really get to know things about people, and I did not get to know that man. It's like I didn't get to know that about him. I didn't get to know, I was still getting to know myself, actually, because remember, it's just trauma after trauma. There is nothing like when you enter into a relationship and you think like you're there with your genuine, like your sincere, your sentiment and your feelings and your intentions, your desires and your passions. You're there. Like that's a whole recipe. It's a juicy recipe, okay? And then the person that you might engage in a union with, if they have an ulterior motive, just so they can get extra money, just so they can get some money, so they have exclusive benefits, premier benefits of some sort that you don't even get to partake in. I'm not necessarily saying that that's exactly what happened with me. It wasn't like that. But I mean, that is no secret. Like we did not marry for love. I didn't get no money. I damn sure didn't marry for money. Like, so it wasn't like that. But I'm just saying, but that, I was just reflecting, comparing and reflecting. When my little cousins were not very hospitable to us. They didn't host us very well. I just considered like, well, you didn't take the time to get to know me. You don't know if I care to sleep with socks on or off. You did not know me. So yeah, you would let yourself just express and do and be. In the same story, in the beginning of it, which is the beginning of this part of the story, but it was the end of the part of my first marriage, because I had just left. And I thought that, he was going to help me. Like, I could keep the car, because we only had one car, and I would take him to work, and I would take the kids to daycare, and then I would take myself to work or to school. I remember there were days, like more so than not, that I would have the kids all day, every day. And then I started volunteering at the church that we used to go to. I just wanted to go in there and just keep the church clean, because that church had a school, like a pre-K kindergarten type situation, Head Start situation, and an actual daycare. Like that was a multifaceted business. And I mean that like all due respect. Like it was amazing, and I was honored to be there. I think their name was, is it Lifting Up Hands, Praise Jesus Church? That is the real name of a church. Judge ye not. I'm not making that up. Lifting Up Hands. I'm going to stop trying to remember it. But anyway, both of them, it was a female and male. It was a husband and wife co-pastoring. They were co-piloting that ship, and I just never seen nothing like that. You know what I mean? Where I come from, a very traditional Baptist background. I was raised in a Baptist church, and they're very reverent in their worship and in their praise, and even in how their sermons, like. It's a ceremony every time you walk into the house of God. All of it is for the glory of God. I know I may say that I am no Christian. That is not to spite Christians or to spite God. It's not that at all. Because I love God as I know God. It's just the way that I was taught. I know it's not exactly what it is. And so it's kind of like I had to stop at a point with my children, because I was just like, I am seeing there are some conflicts in there. There's some clashing theories and ideas. And I can't continue to let my children, like I'm force feeding them something that I'm actually unclear about. And I just didn't feel good about doing that. I didn't feel good about it. But I still hold true to those 10 commandments, because I find that even in other religious doctrine and texts, like spiritual texts, that they have many of the same rules. So who are the 5%ers? Who are the 5%ers? I said I was gonna go in the house. I'm gonna go in the house. I gotta lay back in the seat like, no, let me go on and get out of it. I'm gonna get, okay.